welcome back for the final time today, ladies and gentlemen. This is our 7th of 7 games here for Starladder Season 8, Day 22. This is the longest day we've had so far in the round robin, and based on the schedule, the longest day we will have. So thank you for joining us, folks. We appreciate each and every one of you out there. I am Zyori, joined once again by Synderen, and we are going to move into this game. Na'Vi versus SSD. Now, Synderen, this is going to be another good one. Na'Vi hot off their win over Fnatic, as we just saw, but SSD are a team that have been performing surprisingly well. They don't have a long history playing with one another, but right now they are 7-3 in the round robin. So as we've gone back to, they are still in the running for one of those top 4 positions, but this would be a pretty big win if they could take a game off Na'Vi here.
Reserve time.
Yeah, what worries me here is that this is not the SSD that we've seen recently, Zyori.
Uh-oh.
This is a very, very different SSD, and this makes me wonder whether or not Pycat and Misery are still playing with them, or if they just... they were just trying out. That was basically what Misery wrote in an interview, said that Pycat and him were going to try to play some with SSD, and when I see this roster, I'm worried for SSD as to whether or not Misery and Pycat are playing there anymore, or if they weren't satisfied with the conditions or the way things went when they tried out for them. SSD are playing with 3 stand-ins. Freezer is probably someone most people will be familiar with if they remember back in Dota 1. Perhaps the best player of all time from Romania. An excellent player, but also a very moody player. He can have the most amazing games and get on really bad streaks as well. Keanu and Supri, not too familiar with those. And then, of course, we do have Arise as well as Come With Me from the roster. And I'm assuming that... what is his name once again? Who am I missing that is still on the roster? Snaking is unavailable for this match right now. So Na'Vi will be definitely have an advantage in terms of roster, and hopefully SSD can put up a fight, even though this is, of course, looking pretty grim roster-wise.
Yeah.
Oh, Na'Vi third picked Luna.
Oh, this is the standard Na'Vi draft. If you'll let them have their way, Crystal Maiden, Bristleback first pick. I think, is that what they picked last game? They did first pick the Bristle. I think it was CM too. Was it? I'm forgetting now.
No, that was Enchantress.
Oh, it was Enchantress. That's it.
Yeah.
But very
the
similar,
same pattern.
Similar flavor. Yeah. Then that third pick, Luna. We've seen them do it a bunch of times. They'll do it once again. And oh, there's that TA we saw banned out last game. Dendy. Well, we know who he's going to be playing mid, and I have to imagine that's an effort to just counter that OD straight up.
Yeah, we talked about it yesterday how OD used to be picked as a counter to TA, but recently something has changed in how people play TA against OD. Maybe people have just figured out how to deal with that matchup, which in my book still favors OD, but not as much as it used to. And of course, mid is never one-on-one. Not anymore, at least. Especially lately, over the last few weeks and maybe months, there's been a lot more emphasis on locking down the mid lane if possible. So if there is an OD there, and you have a hero who can keep up with him decently well, like a TA can, expect rotation from Na'Vi to try to gank this OD early on. Crystal Maiden, a great hero for that gank, of course, and the second support, which is still uncertain, but I would assume Na'Vi might be picking up a hero like Enchantress or Chen, or maybe Enigma, if they want to go greedy. If it seems like SSD can't run for an aggressive lane, it's Na'Vi's usual response. If they can get away with it, they will get an Enigma and just farm and get an advantage that way. I'm expecting a jungler last, regardless.
Yes, I was just going to say, Venomancer is still in the pool and could be something aggressive that they might want to grab, but yeah, I think you're right. Na'Vi do favor those junglers, and to the point of SSD's bans, all 4 of their bans so far are very scary heroes that Na'Vi have run. The Slark we haven't seen Na'Vi run quite as much, but there it is, that Enchantress final ban. Still a lot of junglers in the pool, and no, they will prove us wrong. Going to be a Wind Ranger final pick for Na'Vi.
Oh. Interesting. Yeah, I'm not sure what their plan is. They could run, of course, even an aggressive trial lane if they desire. Having triple range in a lane with Luna is always very powerful because they can really put the aura to use. But might be a little bit risky going up against the trial lane of SSD, which they might be running, of course, consisting of VIII and Shadow Demon +1. Now, SSD has what is often considered 3 supports, at least. Nyx Assassin will probably be the one playing a core position, because neither VIII nor Shadow Demon are really suited for that kind of role, unless it's situational. I guess sometimes you could play Shadow Demon as a solo mid, has been done before, and VIII very rarely put on anything else than support, especially now with his nerf in the early game to the to his magic resistance. He is very fragile, so we'll see what SSD go for. I'm expecting it to be a solo Nyx, but where will he go? This is a little puzzling for me as far as laning goes.
Definitely a bit of a strange draft for sure. And I wish we just had confirmation about Pycat and Misery. It really makes me wonder. They are going to grab the gyrocopter, but they performed pretty well in the last matches that they played. I mean, maybe the communication amongst the team, maybe they didn't feel like they hit it off, but they played well, which is what makes this a little bit more surprising to see SSD, who have a really good record right here and have a chance to make it into the top 4. Just seems like it could be a fair opportunity for Pycat and Misery. Of course, I know nothing of their situation right now. That's all conjecture, but interesting nonetheless. So, Gyrocopter, final pick. That does make for probably, I'm going to guess, the mid Nyx. No, maybe not. Arise does tend to be the mid player. He's going to be the one on the OD. Come With Me going to be on the Gyro. So, the rest of it, I don't know this the 3 stand-ins well enough to know exactly how they're going to set up this and who's truly going to be playing support. But maybe just an off-lane Nyx Assassin? Yeah, it looks like that's where Supri's headed.
That's going to be a very hard lane if it's an easy lane for Na'Vi. They will put Crystal Maiden up there with Havost to begin with, so Puppy CM, Havost on the Luna, Dendi in the mid with TA, and then finally an offlane Windrunner by Kuroki together with Phoenix Bristleback. And what's very nice about this offlane dual lane is that it's hard to kill. Yeah. Often when you're running a dual lane offlane, you tend to see a support who is kind of fragile. Sometimes you see a Crystal Maiden in a dual lane offlane or something like that, but SSD are going to be hard-pressed to kill any of these heroes offlane, and maybe that's not even the case. Maybe Kuroki was just warding and heading up toward the top. This is going to be hard for SSD if Na'Vi gets off to a good start with these kind of lanes, because Nyx Assassin will not be getting experience top. He cannot do anything against the tri-lane of this caliber.
Yeah, and I think it'll be a different story for Funnick, where, yeah, he'll struggle a little bit, but Shadow Demon as well as Visage, not the most aggressive of supports. Yeah, they can put out some burst damage, but they don't have that same level of lockdown.
Together with Gyro, though, that is a little bit scary. Especially, he's going to get a haste.
Ooh.
The thing is, Gyro's main damage is magical, and since Bristleback has a stout shield, but he doesn't have Bristleback yet, this Rocket Barrage is going to do full damage. It's actually one of the better things to have against a Bristle offlane if you can get in. Of course, that's a big if. Funnick needs to get caught first. But then I'm absolutely sure they can bring him down if they do it right.
Okay.
Shadow Demon takes the haste rune. He's going to rotate all the way up top. I think SSD are making the right call here.
Yeah.
Yeah, because this Nyx won't be able to do anything on his own. With a Shadow Demon up there, maybe they can get a little bit of an XP advantage, and Funnick will be hesitant down on the bottom because it is a Gyro. So I like this choice.
Well, I guess you were right. I will concede to you, sir. Perhaps I was underestimating the amount of damage that SSD could have put out with this tri-lane. Though, still not sure where this Shadow Demon is going to end up. Freezer, the haste rune has expired. He is going to stack the Ancients here on the Radiant side before wandering his way back down to the bottom lane. So he is going to come back down. Of course, Funnick has no idea, so he's still playing very, very passively here. We see this aggressive lane ward. So they will make Funnick's life difficult. For some reason in my head, I'm just picturing these amazing plays of Funnick turning around 2 duo lanes, tri-lanes, and just spamming those quills. I have faith in the bristle of Funnick, I suppose. Maybe that's where my analysis was coming from more so than the heroes at face value.
He generally does very well against tri-lanes, but I don't think we've seen him playing Bristle against Gyro on a try. In my book, this is one of the best carries of all you can have against Bristle in the lane. Exactly for the reason that he has the highest magical damage output of any carry early game with the Rocket Barrage, and that's the one thing Bristleback really can't deal with a Stout Shield only. Right. So until he gets more levels up on the Bristleback, he needs to be very cautious, and Funnick is playing this right. If he goes aggressive on Come With Me, he's going to lose even a man fight. That's the scary thing, because Bristleback tends to be very strong in one-on-ones in the start because he can just go and fight. Quill Spray adds up, you have the Bristleback if you turn around. But Gyro kills him just flat out, especially when he's maxing Rocket Barrage as Come With Me is right now.
Yeah. So, Funnick is continuing to play it smart, though. He is only level 2, but has yet to concede a death, so that is good news. How's he doing compared to his counterpart, Nyx Assassin? They're pretty comparable, I suppose. Only a 4 creep kill difference. Nyx Assassin has literally nothing, as you were pointing out, although he is pretty close to hitting level 3. Looks like this Visage thinking about coming around the backside, but Funnick will be able to make it back. Talking about this mid a little bit, though, OD sitting 9-6 against the 6-5 Templar Assassin. So as you were pointing out, OD still has an advantage in this lane, but Dendy holding himself pretty well here. A double damage rune out on a rise, but Dendy will pursue him back. Did have that uphill miss, would have done a little bit more damage to him, but Dendy holding his own pretty well here, especially considering this double damage rune sitting on the OD. Well, it's off now, but was a double damage.
Yeah, making excellent use of the side blades here to do a bit of spill damage onto a rise, and of course, that's another advantage TA has on other heroes, I guess you could say, in this lane playing against OD. Is that he doesn't need to get close to the creep, he has to last hit. He can use the side blades to spill over the damage. Meanwhile, bottom lane, there you go. If you were in doubt how much damage this gyro can do, just have a look at that. Funnick getting completely shredded.
Yeah.
That one level in Soul Catcher and then a level 2 Rocket Barrage just took down two-thirds, if not 3/4 of his health in one swift move, and First Blood will be going to SSD.
Cinder, and I don't think there was ever a doubt in anyone's mind that I was more knowledgeable than you, but you were completely right in this scenario. I bow, I tip my hat, I shall concede. I was just completely ass backwards wrong on that one. First Blood onto Funnick. Great news for SSD, though, and it was actually the Gyrocopter that got that bonus gold, so that is definitely great news for SSD, and will give Gyro the #1 seat on the net worth chart.
Yeah, Kuroki gonna find an Invis rune. We'll see if they can put that to use. Dendy diving very deep here in the mid. Okay, just trying to secure some last hits. He's not really in danger. There's creeps tanking the tower for him, so no problem whatsoever. Kuroki leaving the Invis here still for Dendy. We'll let him go and pick that up and see if they can make any play out of it. Interesting to see Funnick rotating in towards the mid. I'm not sure what the idea is behind this. Seems to me like he's kind of just wasting his time here. But they might have saved a little bit of time on the courier rotation since that was already mid.
Maybe that was part of it. Recognizing he's not getting too much down here anyhow, a little bit of counter warding will come about from our Radiant side. They put a sentry into the Ancients here, and Funnick going to put one down of his own so he can counter it. Now, my question for you, good sir, is this ward that Funnick put down going to block the spawn as well, or is that outside of the spawn box where it'll be okay?
I believe that is outside the spawn box. We're gonna. He actually failed the stack, I think. Yeah, he pulled it at the wrong timing, so will not be stacking now.
We'll see at the next minute, perhaps. I think it should be good. He knows these ward locations. I'd be surprised if that blocked the spawn, but it's already a double stack. Is that what I saw? Yeah. So starting to stack it up, doing what he can with what he's got.
Top lane Havost. Yeah, Havost and Come With Me are basically dead even. So are Arise and Dendy, so very close game in that regard. Puppy, however, just full-time jungling. He's got 17 CS on CM at 530, so I don't think he's done anything else than jungling here. Windrunner by Kuroki has been keeping Supri busy up top, so he hasn't been able to find his farm. And
yeah.
Well, just leaves Puppy to maybe go for that Midas that he loves so much on that Crystal Maiden this game.
Yeah, is opening up for a nice disparity in favor of Na'Vi in terms of experience. Both of their supports are level 4, Visage only level 2, and the Shadow Demon is sitting level 3 right now. So that is one thing going the way of Na'Vi for this pretty quiet opener, is that Crystal Maiden does jungle much better than the other supports in this match. And Na'Vi going to be able to reap the benefits of that. We will see some aggression coming out from SSD, though. They are going to press forward towards this top rune. Shackle going to fly, will latch onto the Nyx Assassin, but those Wind Ranger going to be in some trouble. A nice Impale going to connect with both, and that'll be a dead Crystal Maiden and dead Wind Ranger, so that will help level out some of that difference in those supports that I was just talking about.
Very nice Impale there from Supri, setting that up beautifully for a Rise to get a nice ultimate Sanity's Eclipse there, doing a hell of a lot of damage and getting them a 3-0 lead.
Yep.
And as far as farm goes, apart from the disparity between supports where Puppy is leading quite a bit, this is actually pretty even across the board. So I have to say SSD is off to a good start here. Gyro even out farming the Luna at this point. Come With Me has been doing an excellent job here in the easy lane.
And putting some more pressure on Funnick as well. He did just burn the call down, and actually could have set up a kill there if Funnick wasn't just a little bit more, or was just a little bit less cautious. So Come With Me continuing to look for opportunities to pick on this Bristleback. He did go for a Hand of Midas first on that Gyro, so really looking to farm. Meanwhile, up top, oh, poor Shadow Demon. You got the disruption off, but that doesn't stop the Eclipse. Now Havost actually going to be stuck in. Oh, no. Does Nyx Assassin have any mana? Nope, not going to have enough for an Impale.
It's 5 more. He might pursue this. It's a level 3 Impale, but
there's
okay,
the salve.
There's the salve.
Yep.
Gonna mana burn to stop that.
And of course, while that was happening, Dendy did pick up a kill on the OD in the mid lane. So it looks like Kuroki may have helped him out, but that is a big kill for Na'Vi, and they might be able to take out this tower as well. They are going to pressure it pretty hard. Illusion Rune for Dendi, but he is going to take over this mid lane now, actually out-farming that OD by a big margin on the net worth chart.
I think that might have been a solo kill from Dendi. At least Kuroki doesn't have an assist. It is of course possible he only landed a shackle shot, which shouldn't give him an assist because he deals no damage, but there we go. There is a landed shackle. Freezer gonna be in a lot of trouble here. He's even standing on top of a TA trap, and that's gonna get popped. Disruption will buy him a little bit of time, but I don't think that's gonna be enough.
Yeah. Nice play to get the salve off before the disruption, but won't be enough to keep him alive. Now Arise, Shackle flies, doesn't latch, but he's taking a lot of damage here. He's very slow. Dendi definitely going to pursue this one. I shouldn't have said definitely, because Dendi will about face, and they do back off. Though they were diving a tier 2 right there here at the 8-minute mark, so maybe the smart play just to back off.
Probably a wise decision there. Dendi tried to get the last hit with a Sideblade spill off, but didn't land on the OD, who will retreat to base. But that was a really big play for Na'Vi. The amount of gold they just claimed from that was absolutely huge, and the graph just going to dip very well in their favor here. Experience as well. Yep. Kind of a mountain just there on the experience, actually. A big slope going downwards.
In the favor of Na'Vi. So let's take a look at these inventories here and see what has been picked up. Of course, Gyro does have that Hand of Midas. Looks like he is going to be going for Helmet Dominator first, as he does have the Morbid Mask, a good item on the Gyrocopter, and if they continue to stack up the Ancients, he will be able to clear out that stack for a good bit of farm. Havos, though, doing a similar style, does have himself a Hand of Midas and does have Helm of Iron Will to start things off, so probably going to do the exact same opener. I think a Helm of Dom going to be in his future very soon here. Bristleback, of course, working towards that Vanguard. Still not quite on the mark, but actually pretty close. About 900 in the bank. Does have the Ring of Health and Stout Shield, so that Vitality booster not too far off. And that's when Funnick will feel a little bit more comfortable moving about and trying to make something happen in the other lanes here once he has that Vanguard, which is still going to be decently timed. Going to be right around that 10-minute mark or so.
That's a good timing. With the start he had in the lane, that was kind of hard. I think this is looking good for Funnick. And Puppey has actually chosen to go for a rather unusual build on CM with 3 points in the aura here. And of course, when he's jungling as much as he was, then it keeps up his pace that he keeps regenerating like this. And it's helping Funnick a lot as well on that Bristleback. He doesn't have to worry about mana issues because the 2 points per second actually make a very big difference for a Bristleback in order to sustain. And also, of course, to allow Dendi in mid playing against an OD. Mana tends to be a problem.
Yeah.
And then that Arcane Aura can make a big difference. Now Puppey with a Medallion first, so no Midas. A little more objective focused here. We'll build that Medallion to make Roshan a lot easier.
And should be a pretty easy Rosh kill here. SSD have no vision about the pit, and I don't know if they're wise to it, but they are not going to contest. And Na'Vi looking like they'll be able to grab a free Roshan here. No Viscous Goo here from the Bristleback yet, but of course they're not going to need it. And who are they going to give the Aegis to is what I'm really curious about. It looks like it is going to be Dendi. Wasn't sure if it was going to be Funnick or Dendi. Both of them good Aegis carriers here in this game, but of course Dendi playing that driving role, not too surprised.
And by the looks of how much gold he's saving up, I think it's going to be the classic Phase Boots Blink Dagger TA. Of course, the option of a Yasha is still there. We see that sometimes when TA players evaluate that the Blink Dagger is not good enough for damage output as well as just raw ability to chase while taking damage, of course. But I'm assuming it will be a Blink Dagger here. I would be surprised if it's something else. So we'll see. And about 150 gold, that's when you can buy it.
Yep, a very quiet game though. Only 6 kills on the field here in about 12 minutes of gameplay. Usually that gold standard is about a kill a minute for a fairly normal game, so this is really pretty quiet. Both sides do have a Midas, so their carries are just more focused on farming, going fairly defensive. Openers here. Whoa, a Shackle going to fly onto Visage. It will latch, but the follow-up won't be there. He's just going to throw a power shot.
And have you tried comparing Gyro's and Luna's item builds?
Are they identical? They are.
Nah, one of them has a stick.
Yeah.
That's the difference between Havost and Come With Me's items. But interestingly, Havost is ahead by a full level, although they have the same amount of farm pretty much. So has been getting more use out of his Midas, I would think. I guess that's where the advantage comes from, better Midas usage. And of course, maybe the 1 kill he got was worth a bit more than the 1 Come With Me got. I am not sure about it. But still, looking fairly even here, of course, across the board. And I'm curious to see where Come With Me goes from here. Of course, he's taken a creep with the Helm of the Dominator and is going to start stacking up the Ancients. Gyrocopter, one of the very good carries at dealing with this Ancient stack, of course, because of that flak cannon.
Yep.
And Na'Vi are not doing the same, or they actually were. They just farmed it, so never mind that. It's kind of a mirror match, in a sense.
Luna also very good at clearing out those stacks once she levels up those bouncy glaives. Looks like we will see a hold at this top tier 1 tower, though. Na'Vi will port in. They do use the glyph. Call down comes from Come With Me. He is going to move into the trees, and he will port out. Bristleback can be able to finish off the Visage, and they're going to continue to pursue. Nyx Assassin will be their target. He does have the Vendetta available, though, so they need to be a little bit careful here in terms of trying to pursue. They do have a sentry that's going to go down. Dendi going to dive this tower, going to get put in the Astral straight away. There is a double damage on the OD. Going to expire reasonably soon, but he's going to maintain it. Dendi going to pop forward once again. They want to finish off this Nyx Assassin. He's now Vendetted, and that's going to make things a little more difficult. But the power shot. Freezer, another latch shackle. Kuroki really on point here, and that will be 2 kills going the way of Na'Vi. And maybe going to be able to grab this top tier 1 tower as well. Kuroki, though, really the big playmaker right there. A beautiful power shot into that invisible Nyx Assassin. He did not have any vision. That was totally blind. Really well done.
Yeah, and the problem for SSD is simply their supports. They're just too far behind. Visage is level 4 at 14 minutes. This is when you want to be level 7 or 8 even if you're having a good game.
Yeah.
But at least level 6. This is definitely one of the times when level 6 is an absolute must. And Shadow Demon is only level 5, so Na'Vi's just been way more effective at getting the levels on their supports, and the XP graph, that's that. It's huge support advantage. The cores aren't that far from each other. Nyx Assassin, oh, here we go, call down. Funnick is going to get caught here, will probably die.
Yep.
There's the Wisp.
He is going to do a fair bit of damage, though. Power Shot going to come in. Puppy with the Freezing Field. Sanity's Eclipse. That's the end of the OD. Puppy going to pay for it. Come With Me going to fall, though. Dendi now in kind of an awkward position, but Kuroki on his way in. Oh, what a great impale. That'll proc the Aegis. And now Kuroki, well, he's going to be okay for now, but might find himself in a bit of a sticky situation. Dendi going to come back, though. That's the end of Freezer. They do lose their Wind Ranger. Another impale going to connect onto Dendi, but Visage wants to port out. He's going to make it out. And this tower, well, they'll have a glyph available, and Dendi forced to make an odd decision there. Wasn't going to get him compliments of that Spike Carapace, but will fancy himself the tower. So Na'Vi going to come out the victors there by quite a few different standards. They do clear 2 towers in that same push, as well as take a very convincing team fight.
Yeah. Important for SSD, though, they're getting levels on the supports. The Visage almost got level 6 from that, so that's a big win for him. Shadow Demon now up to level 6 as well. And that last fight is very different if the supports from SSD have more levels. If there were familiars in that fight, it's a different outcome. Then Dendi doesn't get to do what he wants. Birds will remove his refraction and stun him down, so they really need to give this space to Keanu, who will get level 6 at bottom now. Uses the ultimate immediately to get that up and online. And, well,
BKB
still,
out for
the
Luna.
advantage of Na'Vi now, it's just so incredibly high that I feel like even a comeback from the supports of SSD, they're going to need more than that. They need a really good play from the cores.
Yeah.
The call down has to be better than the one in the last fight.
Yep. And now we see a growing disparity between the carries. Gyrocopter did get picked off there. He's now going to go down to 7k on the net worth. And meanwhile, Havos just continuing to rack up the farm at about 10k. And now we're actually going to get to see them go toe-to-toe with one another. The call down, but Havos does have an Eclipse. And those beams will be enough to secure that kill. Gyrocopter going to fall, and that disparity I was just mentioning going to grow a bit further here. Like I said, BKB out on the Luna now, and Gyrocopter, well, still a ways off his. Does he have it on the Courier? No, just the Ogre Club. So now, basically, Havos is a full item ahead, which is great news for Na'Vi, of course. Up here in the top, there's going to be some aggression coming out on Funnick. He's trying to turn that back. He's trying to do what he can. And is it going to be enough? Those quills really starting to add up. 2 more, and perhaps this Nyx Assassin will fall. He's going to be forced to turn, and Funnick going to survive by the skin of his teeth after some crafty footwork in the trees.
That was really close, but Bristleback, a good ability. Keeping him alive there. Even pure damage does get blocked from the back, of course. Only HP removal goes through. And Funnick will stay alive, but now, oh, if he's going to go back here, he might just pay for it. That was kind of cocky. And
he's trying to bait it out. Dendi with a double damage. He's going to blink forward. That's the end of the Shadow Demon. They're waiting for that Spike Carapace. That's the end of the Nyx Assassin. It will cost him a tower. A Rise might not get out of here. A double damage on Dendi. Oh, no. Didn't have the blink cooldown. I thought he was going to hop forward. Probably could have bursted him if he had the blink. But Nyx Assassin, probably just a disconnect. But ironic timing as he was just sent back to the grave. There you see, Come With Me. He's coming back.
Yeah.
But... Yeah, 12-6 here.
Turned out to be a nice play by Funnick there, just baiting. I think that bait could have still gone wrong, though. If he got stunned there when the Nyx used the Mana Burn, he could have tried to go for the Impale. I think it could land. Then Funnick would have been dead. But of course, Dendi would have still got those 2 turnaround kills, so it would have been a good trade nevertheless.
Yeah.
Oh, nice play here from Na'Vi. They do lose their tower, though, like you say, and Arise got that last hit, so getting close to his Force Staff, already has the Midas. And we'll see if he can turn into a big mid-game fighter here, as that's what he'll really need to be against the tankiness. Once again, Na'Vi, tanky heroes. The Bristleback, very hard to bring down. And the TA, in her own right, is a tanky hero in the right scenario. Of course, the Rocket Barrage from Gyro is going to immediately remove that refraction, but if Dendi keeps his positioning clever here, he's not going to be too easy to bring down. And then the Luna with a BKB as well, valuing tankiness. And wow,
yep.
Boots of Travel on Havost. That's highly unusual to see this early on Havost, especially on a hero like Luna.
Yeah, just sitting with that casual band of Elven Skin and then going to go into Boots of Travel. Interesting. Dendi, though, with a big item pickup here. He's going to have that Desolator in just a few moments. Still needs the recipe. Or is it on the Courier already? Oh, it's already on the Courier. So that's a mech. That's also a Desolator. Oh, it's starting to look very grim for SSD here. The gold graph, 15,000. Experience graph, very comparable. But I think this Desolator may be the end of them. It's just going to hit so hard. Not a super high armor team. And Gyrocopter, really the only one with a good bit of armor, complements to that Helm of the Dominator. But Desolator really hits hard. And now Na'Vi just going to steal their Ancient stack as well. So adding insult to injury here, perhaps.
For sure. This is a big blow to the economy. Come with me and Havost, as said earlier, we're on par. And now Havost is ahead by 5,000 on that Gyrocopter. Here we go, might have a fight breaking out. Call down. Only going to hit Dendi.
Yep, Dendi now going to start adding into those right clicks. He needs to be careful. Does not have an Aegis here. Dendi actually kind of up in no man's land. The team is going to get there. In comes the Sanity's Eclipse. Now Dendi going to pop back out. Visage falls. Shadow Demon falls shortly after. The Astral comes out defensively on the OD, but just going to delay the inevitable. Godlike streak for Dendi. He is now 9-0-3. A 3 for nil exchange. And look at this.
Congratulations, Admiral Dundee. Just got an item out of Dendi's godlike there, so certainly a Dendi fan who's going to be happy with that.
Oh, it's good to see that. So, yeah, that Tier 2 going to fall. This Tier 3 going to melt that minus armor from the Desolator. Doing some serious work on these structures. Glyph comes out. That will keep this Tier 3 alive a little bit longer. OD going to be down for another 10 seconds. And that will secure the Tier 3 tower kill for Na'Vi. They've all got full health just about, but those mana pools are really the sad part here, I guess, is an okay descriptor, as they will back out. Armadon going to grab himself an armlet. Dendi now going to grab a Crystallis. That's the Yasha completed for Havost, also level 16 for extra Lucent Beams. It just keeps going on and on. Meanwhile, Gyrocopter still struggling to complete that BKB, has the Mithril Hammer, but still a ways off that recipe. And Funnick just going to clear out their Ancients once again for good measure.
Yeah, that armlet on Bristleback is a great pickup as well, of course. The way he can just... Being a tanky hero already, he's hard to bring down, and makes it a lot easier when you have a tanky hero already going for the armlet. It gives you a lot more space, so to speak, to get off the armlet toggles. When the enemy needs to use a lot of abilities to get you low already, then they will generally not have the abilities they will need to prevent you from armlet toggling afterwards, so... Definitely a hero that Armlet is good on. We see it frequently, but maybe not as much as we should. I think it's a very solid item pickup on the Bristleback. And Na'Vi, well, have taken over the SSD jungle. They still have their barracks, but the problem for them right now is that they kind of stalled in their progression. They were looking okay in the early game, but their supports fell behind, and then eventually their cores also fell behind because of that. And now losing the entire map, it's just so hard for them to find the farm that they really need on Gyro and OD.
Yeah, and if you look at that level chart here, a lot of red floating towards the top, but most notably, 3 heroes for SSD still in the single digits, and that's where things get a little bit scary. Dendi going to be very aggressive here, going to try and burst down the Visage. Not going to be able to do it quite yet. There's another fight breaking out down bottom as Gyrocopter fell. Dendi may be getting hyper-aggressive here. They will actually use a Dust, and he is going to fall, but Funnick going to come in. That'll be enough to finish off Visage. Havost going to be here as well. He's got an Eclipse. There are a lot of creeps nearby. He's going to blow it anyway. And not going to be the best Eclipse we've ever seen, but that's all right. Going to be enough to finish off the OD.
Got the OD.
Oh, Wow, that must have been one of the last few beams that finished him off, because that ult had been running for a while. So, dead OD, dead Gyro. We didn't even catch that on camera. He got killed down in the bottom while I was watching Dendi play in the forest. And that'll be the end of the mid lane of racks. No glyph available, and I think Na'Vi can just rotate to either top or bottom and clear out another set of racks if they so desire. Though, maybe not. They are going to back out. Without Dendi, their pushing power is semi-limited without the Desolator.
It's too risky for them to commit to a 4-on-5 right now. I'm making the right decision here. Freezer will be TPing down the bottom lane. Has a bit of work to do. He's actually smoked up alone. I'm not sure what he's hoping to accomplish with this. He's maybe trying to chase down Puppey here, but if he tries to go for that, that's going to backfire pretty hard as Havost is in the neighborhood. And just walking out to Ward, seemingly. Now he's going to find Kuroki. This might not end well.
Yep, Kuroki, he is going to try and turn and make it back. Puppey going to move into a more defensive posture as well. And they're both going to survive. Meanwhile, Roshan falls once again. Dendi going to be the one to grab the Aegis, and Havost actually getting pretty close to a butterfly here. And, yeah, I don't know. I think Na'Vi have this one in the bank. They have crossed that threshold of 1k per minute, actually ahead of it here. And there's the butterfly.
Oh, wow. I didn't think they were that far ahead. I know they were far ahead, but that's just... well, if you look at the last hit chart, I guess it's making sense. Especially the supports of Na'Vi have got a lot of farm here compared to the supports of the Radiant side. OD and Dendi are still pretty even. OD and the Templar Assassin, but Havost now catching up to 100 almost of being ahead of Gyro here.
Yeah.
Going really fast, and of course a lot of this farm, let's not forget, a lot of these CS are ancients, which just makes them worth that much more. They've stolen this ancient camp from SSD twice or thrice now, and Havost is just incredibly farmed in this game.
Yeah, obviously no MKB on the side of SSD, so that evasion going to come in handy here as they do start chipping away at this tier 3 in the bottom. No glyph available still, and they're just going to slow siege this tower. Na'Vi don't have to be too aggressive here, but they certainly can be. It is a 5v4. They have Havost in the top lane, so they're really just trying to stall, keep the wave pushed in, and just wait for Havost to get that top lane into a better bit of laning position so he can pressure the top lane. So, looks like this could be a last hurrah for Na'Vi, perhaps, as they are still continuing to slow siege. Glyph going to be up pretty soon here, just about 10 seconds away. And Dendi going to hop forward, actually going to force a bit of a wasted cooldown there from the Gyrocopter. Not too bad, though. Havost has made it up to the top lane, and he is just chipping away at that top tier 3. Now down to the bottom, they're going to commit to it. The glyph will come out, no doubt here, I think, as the bottom lane of Rax is exposed. Falling very quickly, in comes the Nyx, and show off that new Blink Dagger. Actually a nice impale, a decent cooldown as well. Going to do a good bit of damage, but unfortunately Na'Vi are just a little bit too tanky. We see this Gyro trying to force out Puppey and Kuroki, but he's going to have to turn back in, because all the while, Dendi just laying into him. There it is, the Gyrocopter now going to be in big trouble. One more hit, down he goes. Now Dendi going to turn. He wants the Outworld Devourer, and he's going to get him. That was a 5-4 Funnick.
Yeah, and that is going to be the end of the game. GG called by Arise. Na'Vi is going to get mega creeps in 25 minutes. And
very convincing. 3 stand-ins for SSD,
was, of course, the favorites for this, but was expecting a little bit more out of SSD before the game started, but of course they're also playing with 3 stand-ins, so I guess it's fair to say that they were at a
really wanted
heavy
to see
disadvantage.
Misery and Pycat SSD here. That would have been a much more interesting game. Very unfortunate. But still well played by Na'Vi. Dendi continuing to show us why Templar Assassin is a scary force and a hero to consider banning out. 12-1-6 as he did get out of control, ending that game with a Daedalus in combination with that Desolator and Blink Dagger. So, Synderin, that does wrap up our coverage today. It was a long day, and I think we did pretty well. A little fatigued here by game number 7, but we made it. A lot of good Dota today, but unfortunately, this marks the end for Synderin's Starladder Season 8 round-robin casting. Your vacation starts tomorrow for the winter holiday.
Yes, so I will not be here for the coverage tomorrow. You will be here. I'm not sure how many games you're casting. You probably know that
6,
yourself, so you can tell people that. 6 games, all right. But I'm sure you'll probably have Hippie ready for that, or another caster who's willing to jump in. So hopefully you're not all alone with 6 games. That is quite a lot to have on your own. But yeah, hope for you to get a good co-caster for that. And of course, thank you everyone for watching. And yeah, like you said, We're gonna go on summer yeah, summer holidays. That's right. Yeah, okay, winter holiday. And yeah, I'm not sure about Starladder's holiday exactly, because I believe they have some play days between Christmas and New Year as well. Actually, quite a few of them. I think 3 or 4 days between Christmas and New Year will also have round-robin coverage.
We get 3
you
days
should
off
be all over that.
on Christmas Day, and then 1 day on each side, so 24th, 25th, and 26th. And then there are 4 days off for New Year's. New Year's 2 days before, and then the 2nd. But other than that, coverage will resume, and then the last day of the round robin, day 30, will be on January 5th. So still a good bit of Starladder coverage. But Cinder, it was an absolute pleasure. I appreciate you stepping up here, offering your services for Beyond the Summit. And it's been a blast, my friend. I've learned a little bit here and there. Hopefully it wasn't too painful for you, carrying my lack of Dota 2 knowledge. I think I threw a few Armadons into that last
awful.
one. But I know, it must have been bad for you. But I appreciate it, buddy. And hope to see you again in the future.
It's been great. I had a blast. I had a really good time. Hope everyone enjoyed the commentary and the casting, of course. And yeah, it's going to be more of the stuff coming up in the future. I hope to see you around a lot more as well, of course. And yeah, have fun with the rest of the round robin here tomorrow, as well as between Christmas and New Year. And then I'll see you guys in the new year. So have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, everyone, from me. And of course, tomorrow, Beyond the Summit is back with Zyori Plus X. So don't miss out on all the incredible games that are going to be coming up, as well as the conclusion of the round robin, which should really be a thriller. So I'm sure you've got some exciting stuff on your hands. So thank you very much, and enjoy the rest of the year.
All right, absolutely. Thank you, my friend. Make sure you give us both a follow on Twitter, guys. It is in the title of this broadcast. At Zyori TV, at Cinder and Dota is where we hang out, and feel free to tweet at us at your leisure. Until tomorrow, though, guys, be kind to yourselves, be kind to each other. Thank you for joining us here on Beyond the Summit. We'll be here bright and early, I think at 18 CET tomorrow.